Good morning, everyone. Today I will talk about the evaluations of disinfectants. In my previous video, I already explained about the disinfectants and antiseptics. So today I will talk about the different methods that I used for the evaluation of disinfectant. Now, what is evaluation of disinfectant? It is the process of establishing documented evidence that a disinfectant will constantly remove or inactivate known or possible pathogens from the sample. Now, why evaluate disinfectants? That what is the need to evaluate disinfectant? Like we are storing the disinfectant for a longer period of time. In that case, in order to check the potency of that particular disinfectant, it is necessary to evaluate it. So the first reason, it may lose potency on standing, may also lose potency on addition of organic matter, are required in critical areas like hospitals and labs. Now, the methods for the evaluation of disinfectant. There are several methods that are used for the testing of disinfectants. So, and each of the method is having some kind of advantages and disadvantages. So, on the basis of the availability, on the basis of the advantages and limitations, different methods are used. So, the methods are carrier test, suspension test, capacity test, and in use test. So these are several steps. Now the first test is carrier test. This is the oldest test. So the bacteria culture which is used for the carrier test is Staphylococcus aureus, and in this case the disinfectant is directly added to the culture, bacterial culture, and if the growth occurs, it means the disinfectant is less or ineffective. And in case if no growth occurs, it means the disinfectants are effective. So this test can be mainly used for the liquid disinfectants. The carrier test is less used because of the limitation. Limitations are difficulty in standardizing number of bacteria, dry on carrier, and the second limitation is survival of bacteria on carrier during drying is not constant. So this is the limitations of carrier test. Now the second test is capacity test. This is the advanced form in which we check the capacity of a disinfectant, like for how much concentration, for how much time the disinfectant is working, like to exactly determining the capacity of the disinfectant, like we are increasing the load of the contamination, that for how much time the disinfectant is working properly. So this test determines the capacity of a disinfectant to retain its activity in the presence of increasing contamination load. So bacterial suspension added until disinfectant capacity to kill is exhausted. So up to that time, we are continuously adding the bacterial culture. So this test simulates practical situation of housekeeping and instrument disinfection. So in capacity test, there is a very well known capacity test, that is Kelsey-Sykes test. So we will talk about Kelsey-Sykes test. Kelsey-Sykes test, it is a triple challenge test. It is called triple challenge test because it is performed in three steps. So three successive addition of bacterial suspensions are made, and usually this test takes 30 minutes to complete. So this test can be done under clean or dirty conditions. Now, this is the procedure. Like what we have to do. Firstly, we will take the bacterial suspension. Like 10 ml, we are taking the bacterial suspension. Then we will add 3 ml of disinfectant in it. In 3 ml of disinfectant, we are adding bacterial suspension. Then from that particular solution, then we will perform this test in three different time intervals. So firstly, what we need to do, we will just take 3 ml of test disinfectant, and we will add 1 ml of microbial cells from this bacterial suspension. And after 8 minutes, like you can see here in the first one, there are 5 test tubes are there. After 8 minutes, what we will do, we will transfer 0.02 ml of the sample in which there is 1 ml of disinfectant and 1 ml of microbial cells and 3 ml of test disinfectant is there. So we will transfer 0.2 ml from each of it in the different test tubes. After that, we need to check the disinfectant kill the microbial cells or not. So this is the first step. In the second step, after 10 minutes, after 18 minutes, what we will do, again we will transfer 1 ml of bacterial suspension. Like we will add 1 more ml of bacterial suspension to the initial solution in which there was 3 ml of disinfectant and 1 ml of bacterial suspension. Now there will be 2 ml of bacterial suspension and 3 ml of test disinfectant. Same we will do, transfer microbial cells to the nutrient media to check the disinfectant kill the microbial cells or not. So this was the second step. First step is on the 8 minutes, and the second step is after 18 minutes. Now after 28 minutes, again we will add 1 ml of bacterial suspension in the primary solution. Primary solution in which there is already 2 ml of bacterial suspension is present. So what we need to do, we will add 1 more ml of bacterial suspension. So now the solution will containing 3 ml of bacterial suspension along with 3 ml of disinfectant. We will again transfer 0.02 ml of the sample to each of the nutrient media, and we will check the bacterial growth. Then we need to mark it as plus or minus, like plus there is the growth of bacteria and minus no growth of bacteria. So on the basis of that, we will interpret that for how much concentration, like we are increasing the load of microbial cells, that for how much concentration of bacterial cell the disinfectant is working. Now the another test is suspension test, in which in this test a sample of bacterial cell is suspended into the disinfectant solution. So after exposure, we need to subculture the initial bacterial culture, and after subculture we will check the growth. If the growth occurs, it means the disinfectant is less effective, and if no growth occurs, it means the disinfectant is more effective. This test is preferred as compared to the carrier test because the like the bacterial cells will continuously be in uniform contact with the disinfectant. Now the another test is in-use test. This is used mostly in hospitals and laboratories to detect the contamination. In this test, 1 ml of test disinfectant is added to 9 ml of diluent, and 10 drops from the diluent sample is placed on the nutrient agar plates, and it will be incubated for 3 days and 7 days, and we need to check the formation of colonies.